Good evening friends, welcome to PSIR Analytica. I am Nikhil Gowda, the Political Science and International Relations faculty at InsightsIAS. So today we are going to discuss the question on 1st July which was posted on 1st July. This is again a foreign policy question in that regard because that week we are only doing foreign policy question. The question was discuss the objectives of India's Look East Act East policy. 10 marks, 150 words. A very simple question. They are asking you what are the objectives, what did the Indian government want to achieve with Look East Act East policy. Here in the introduction part, give a very brief introduction, give a background of Look East policy in that regard. So you can see at the end of Cold War, the keyword, the end of Cold War brought a new direction to Indian foreign policy when India started to looking towards eastern markets or Southeast Asian countries to enhance its cooperation. In this regard, P.V. Narasimha Rao government, or you can say former Prime Minister PM Narasimha Rao government, introduced then the Look East policy, and which has been continued under the current Prime Minister Modi's government in the form of Act East policy. And you can say Act East policy is a advanced version and more action oriented version of the Look East policy. So this is your introduction, nothing else which is required. Now quickly then give a subheading to your answer saying that what are the objectives. So one, you can say the first objective is that Look East policy has a political objective of enhancing India's greater engagement with Southeast Asia, which will enable India to get support for its candidature in the UN Security Council at large, and also improve the government to government talks in that regard. So you can see India has been part of ADMM plus Asian Defence Ministerial Meet, East Asian Summit in that regard. Then you can write second one, there is an also objective of containing insurgency in India's northeast in that regard, because any kind of containment of insurgency issue in northeast requires support from neighboring countries, especially Southeast Asian countries. So here you can give an example of India's cooperation with Myanmar, where they did Operation All Out between Indian military and Myanmar military to flush out the insurgents within the region. Then third, you can see there is an economic objective. So you can see the bilateral trade between the region is almost around $65 million and $50 billion is the inflow from Southeast Asia. Hence, India wants to use Southeast Asia as a market for its Make in India program and a market for India's service sector. And the region is being one of the most emerging regions across the world in terms of trade. And also you can write it provides market for India's northeastern states in that regard. Then you can go fourth one, there is a strategic objective of containing China. Since the rise of China has been a security threat to India and major Southeast Asian countries such as Philippines, Singapore, etc. at large. So K.M. Pannikar, an Indian strategic expert, says that the Strait of Malacca is like a crocodile's mouth which is controlled by India and Southeast Asian countries, which acts as a choke point which acts as a choke point for Chinese ships entering the region. So you can see that there is also a strategic angle in that regard. Then you can see there is a defense cooperation, to enhance defense cooperation, because both India and Southeast Asia face common problems such as drug trafficking, golden triangle you can give an example of, and terrorism. Hence, India now aligning with Southeast Asian countries can ensure that the sea lanes of communication and any kind of terrorist funding emerging from the region can be comprehended at large. And not only that, it also offers a defense market for India. So under Act East, we are not only selling to sell or manufacturing goods, but also we are trying to approach defense market. There you can give example of this, the offering of BrahMos missile to Vietnam. And the final point you can write about cultural engagement. Since there is a lot of cultural affinity such as Buddhism, Hinduism and Islam between the two things, it will enable India to enhance its soft power, and also it enables India to connect with its diaspora, which will be able to bring favorable policies from Southeast Asian countries towards India in that regard. And also tourism can be an agenda to generate more foreign exchange revenue in that regard. So in this regard, you can end on a quote of Sanjay Baru, who says that though there is a lot of potential, the objectives of Look East policy can be backed provided the Indian government brings action on the ground. And he says that India has more number of diplomats in Western countries, which actually should focus on Southeast Asia at large. So friends, this is the answer what you can write about. The question was simple. You have to write the objectives. In last paragraph you can write, to achieve these objectives, Indian foreign policy should be more action oriented rather than being just rhetorics in that regard. That is what Sanjay Baru is saying, that we have to bring or engage or deploy more number of diplomats within the region rather than the West at large. That is what you mean by, if we just look east, it's not enough, we have to start acting east. That is why the government came out with Act East policy. So don't worry about quoting too many scholars, one or two is enough in that regard, because the main demand of the question is that whether you will be able to show to the evaluator that what are the objectives that Indian government has brought. So structure it: political, strategic, economical, security and defense and cultural. So these are the different objectives, multi-pronged objectives which the Indian government has been trying to implement through Look East and Act East. So friends, we have come to an end to today's questions discussion. I hope you are able to get an idea that how to approach the IR questions in the exam. So we'll meet you again tomorrow. So as I said, the next week we are starting with again, because week number 1 in the new month, we are starting with political science, paper 1 part A. The thinkers will be for that week is Hobbes, Locke, J.S. Mill in that regard, and Marx. So friends, we'll meet you again tomorrow with a new question. Till then, stay safe and take care.